what is the word, geosynchronized orbit.
Well, what would be a heliosynchronous orbit, where it's always underneath, it's always between the sun and the Earth.
Okay.
The other, I'm not sure what orbit you'd even call that, because it's tracking with the moon.
That is absolutely, now see, that's something else that I want to see. You know, I want to see this big blue planet. I want to see some of these things with my own eyes, but I also want to see, 100% proof that they've been trying to fool us this whole entire time with these sun simulators. And I know they're up there. We've talked about this, me and you, we've talked about this for hours on end before. And what's really amazing me as of lately, and you may want to throw some input on here, but this absolutely outrageous levels of ultraviolet. It is so intense. Mr. MMBB333 did a video yesterday where he lined up crayons in the perfect spectrum pattern on a piece of white poster paper, and he laid them on a chair facing the sun, and in time lapse he recorded all of this, and they started melting and dripping and running down the white piece of poster board as he was measuring the ultraviolet at 14.34.
Wow.
And the only ones in the whole array of colored crayons, the only ones that didn't melt was the white one and the pale yellow and the orange. All of the rest just exploded.
Wow. Did you see the one that he did where he was in his car and he had the license plate flashing?
Oh yeah. I did see that.
Okay, I'm the last one to leave a comment on his channel because the trolls came and said, oh, it's the sound system from the car, the license plate was vibrating, blah, blah, blah. And nobody completely ignored my last comment, saying that if you go back and watch that video, you will see the light that's synchronized flashing on his plate, flashing on the window of the car next to it.
I did notice that.
So nobody even touched that comment. It was absolutely ignored. It was like, so, and by the way, if it was the sound system that, if it was that loud to vibrate the license plate, you should have heard it in the audio of the video itself. And there was another video, a few videos back before him, he actually captured a flickering sun on another YouTube channel. It actually caught it flickering. Now, I have seen this too, but I never had my camera available, so now I'm really watching hard. If anybody's got videos of the flickering sun, a direct shot of it, please capture it on the ground and in the sky, because you will see the real light. To me, that is just proof positive that this thing is absolutely fake.
Yeah, I did see that video that he put up. I think some lady sent that video footage into him, and I did do a video several months back where I had a subscriber send me some video in that she recorded right like out in her backyard, and there were what looked to be lightning bolts coming out of the side of the sun, and it was a pretty amazing video. But I myself, not too long ago, maybe a little bit over a month ago, I was driving down the road. It was a crystal clear day. There were no clouds in the sky, and I stopped at a store, and just as I got out of my car, I noticed, just with my eyes, I wasn't looking up, just normal walking, and it seemed like a big shadow just went over me, the parking lot, the building, and it was about maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and everything had a shadow cast over it. And then as I turned around real quick and I went to grab my sunglasses and put them on, it was gone. And I still can't figure that out. That would have to be something passing in front of the sun momentarily to create that type of effect. It wasn't a bird, it wasn't a plane. Those are too small of objects to be casting that type of massive shadow, you know, onto a huge store and a huge parking lot, and for me to notice it instantaneously with my eyes. And I still don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty amazing. And I just stood there for a few minutes, looking around to see, because there was other people in the parking lot, and I wanted to see if anybody else had noticed it. But you know, people nowadays, man, you know, they're walking around, they don't even know what's going on, you know. So again, it was one of those WTF moments, like what just happened, you know?
Right.
But I tell you what, some of the last couple of videos that you've done, I've actually had to watch them. I've watched them over and over again because I was just in complete amazement. I think it was the last video that you did, and you went back and you showed that that footage of how it's breaking down, and it looks like that mesh substance in the rays of the sun.
Exactly.
Man,
I watch that site all the time, and when I saw it breaking down like that, what really alerted me to it was another channel called Identify This, and she's been seeing some freaky stuff on there, and I always agree with it, but it wasn't compelling enough for me to actually make a post at it. And I thought about it. I go, wait a minute, that's that exact same lens pattern that I've captured from the lens array that she's actually posting in all her videos. And one thing that I'm starting to notice, that one YouTuber said, one of my subscribers says, so this is coated the whole sky. I said, no, I don't think it's got the entire sky like a Truman Show. I believe this thing is actually parked in a constellation that's near the Orion star system constellation. But it's not in an orbit that we see. It's not going to rotate with our normal stars. So if you were to like stargaze, you're going to watch, you know, everything in the sky should orbit to the east. This will actually, so everything that I found is always in the Orion constellation. And one more thing I'd like to add is the fake sun is susceptible for viewing near the horizon because of the angle between the sun and the fake sun. So what I think we've been seeing are two suns in the sky. And this is where we see the abnormalities, and that's why I think they're really heavy chemtrailing during these abnormalities at the horizon. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Me and the doctor were just talking about this chemtrailing crap earlier this morning. And where I live, I mean, you can set your watch by the chemtrailing. I mean, at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if it's a clear day, they're going to destroy it. I mean, they are out there. I don't know how many of those drone planes or whatever they're using. At some point in time, you know, I'm watching them, and I can't even imagine those being actual pilots flying those planes. Those planes are moving so fast, and those patterns, well, number one, you know, I mean, it looks like they're very, very close together to create those patterns. And, you know, we have FAA federal regulations not permitting planes like that size to fly that close together.
Well, I was told from elite source that basically those pilots get in those planes and it's all AI after that. All the pilot's got to do is take off and land. It's all
I would never. Man, you couldn't give me any amount of money in the world to do something like that. No way. I wouldn't do it, man. That's just absolutely incredible. And I was watching them back in January and February, and they were actually out a little bit earlier. They would come out around noon, and they would chemtrail the living hell out of the sun, block it out completely. And like I've said before, I think this time around they're using either a different substance or a different method of causing this dispersion, because before, it would create those clouds, big clouds that just wouldn't move anywhere. This time it just seems like it's a fine mist. It dissipates quickly, but then it puts that haze around over the entire sky. And then you've done a lot with all of these sun halos, and
right.
I see a sun halo now every single time the sun is out, and they chemtrail. About an hour later, that big sun halo comes out.
So let me touch on that topic of these dark halos that we've been seeing. Only in the year 2017 we've been getting these dark halos. And you had made a video about an object on the SATELITTE taking an object passing in front of the sun for 3 days, correct?
Yeah.
And you had Astro Boy saying this was the moon orbiting around Earth. What a joke.
Yeah, we were talking about
I find that coinciding with the dark halos, because a pattern that I'm noticing with the chemtrails is that when they start the chemtrail, we'll see the dark halos, and they chemtrail for at least 3 days. Now, and then we get clear skies for 4 days, 6 days, somewhere about there. And right now over California, we've been getting clear skies. So where are these planes now? Were these commercial jetliners? Because did they cancel flights? American, Delta, Southwest, did they just stop flying planes in front? No. Now that that they're government planes. And one thing you're going to notice, it really, I think, is they're obscuring. They get everybody used to the idea of being chemtrails and these fake clouds, and the public has swallowed it, hook, line, and sinker.
No doubt.
But now people are going, wait a minute, you know that those are planes. So why do we get 4 days of clear skies? Well, that's because they're not being eclipsed. These solar eclipses, I knew it from the very beginning. Why would we have a fake sun? The biggest purpose is so we still get something shining in the sky. People are not going to freak out when our sun gets eclipsed.
That's going to freak a lot of people out.
Oh, we freak out hard. I have personally experienced, and in fact, I had a video, I had a witness. When I watch these halos, about 15 minutes during the halo, you will feel a loss of heat on your face.
Correct.
And you will see the sky kind of dim down. I'll even notice it on the cameras. I'll check out the camera settings on the cameras from around the world. You'll see the ones that can allow you to do it, like Addicted Sports. You'll see no ISO change at all, and yet you'll watch the light dim out, and the sun is still up in the sky. What's different? And it's about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was standing. I had just come out of a Walmart a few weeks back, and the Walmart is in a massive plaza, and they even have a big Lowe's shopping center over there, and the entire parking lot's probably the size of about 3 football fields. It's huge, and you have a nice big bright view of the sky. And when I came out of Walmart, I noticed immediately. I just put my dark sunglasses on, and I noticed this big sun halo. So I went over to my car real quick, grabbed my cell phone, and I was standing in the middle of the parking lot right next to my car, and I was trying to grab some film footage of it. And while I had the phone up there videotaping this huge sun halo, just as you've said, it in the first minute, it was literally burning my face. I couldn't even stand it anymore.
Exactly. The ultraviolet light just fries your eyes.
Yeah, and then I could feel it on my forehead, and I could feel it on my cheekbones and my face. And then after about a minute, no temperature, no heat,
exactly. Yeah.
Nothing. And that kind of startled me, and I put the phone down. I was like, what the hell just happened? Because it wasn't burning my face anymore, and it feels like a damn magnifying glass. on your skin.
So the physicist thought, what, you have any thoughts on all this?
Yes, Jeff, I've looked at a lot of your videos, especially at the beginning, because I was looking at the sun simulators as well. And I think you're probably correct. They are probably in orbit. I'm not sure how far they would actually put one of these objects because, as you know, the sun is so enormous compared with the Earth. So it wouldn't have to be that far out. It's just not within human capabilities of building something like that.
Right.
But obviously he's out there. And you do say that there are two perhaps out there in orbit, and I believe that. But I think there are more of them. I think they actually have some new ones that are operating within the Earth's atmosphere. Because I've seen pictures of these objects that are within clouds. So you see cloud in front and cloud behind. And these look much more circular than the ones that we had before. And I've seen them myself. I mean, as I was driving to work, I would see this object, and obviously it didn't look like the sun. And they can even change the color of it. I've noticed now. They can even make it look sort of pink because they hide.
Hey, you. Towards the substellar planetary blue object that I photographed back on May 10th. So, good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Good morning, Scott. Well, thank you. And you?
I'm doing pretty good now that I have that freaking buzzsaw out of my ears next door. I can hear a lot better. They were really going to town on that tree over there, boy. I was hoping to God it wouldn't fall down and hit my house, but they did a pretty good job. And they did a fast job. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into your report. But you can give me a few minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody so they can see exactly what you have for us today. And here we go. Now, the title of the report that the doctor has written quotes the sizes of the different brown dwarf stars and brown dwarfs in the solar system. And this is dated for today, May 26th, 2017.
Yes, that's because I finished it very early this morning.
Yes, this looks like a detailed report, and I do believe that everybody is definitely going to want to know what's in this report. I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you, and you can go ahead and start the report, because I'm very interested in listening to this also.
Yes, because you actually made a little video about the size of some of these objects. So I actually got this idea from that little video you made. But I've included all the objects that I've been observing and that I've been able to sort of estimate.
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you, and you can go ahead and start the report, because I'm very interested in listening to this also.
This is the first one that I observed.
Yes, because you actually made a little video about the size of some of these objects.
So I actually got this idea
images
from that little
video.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of trouble.
Objects that I've been observing and that I've been able to
sort of I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you, and you can I'm very interested in listening to this also.
This is the first one that I
Yes, because you actually made a little video about the size of some of these objects.
So I actually got this idea
images
from that little
That's That's the video that got me into all kinds of
things. And I have the sun going dark,
observed
and
I've been
That's
able
it.
this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll
have
turn it over to you.
and you start
of course, I'm very interested in
so this is the fact that
this also.
this was the first one that I
Yes, because you actually make
was
a
being
video
I
on
asked
starting
for
something
as
else.
rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
I have to line from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll
have
turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested in
so this is fact that
this
you
also.
have and I was the first one that
Yes, because you actually make a
was being
video
I
on
asked for
starting something else.
rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
This is like from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested
so this is fact that you have and I was the first one that
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
This is like from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested
so this is fact that you have
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
This is like from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested
so this is fact that you have
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
This is like from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested
so this is fact that you have
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for rejection.
So I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
This is like from the this is the rig, but I
I'll go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
and you start with this
I'm very interested
so this is fact that you have
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for
So
rejection.
I actually got this on images on that board.
That's the video that got me into all kinds of
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for rejection.
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for
Yes, because you actually make a video
I asked for
Yes, because you actually make a video
that this was going to happen as we moved into the day and progressed into the day.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
Larger.
zoom into this down here, and I do have a lot of subscribers that are from South America and the country of Chile and Argentina. And as you can see, this massive cluster has been going on for days now. Now, some of the earthquakes that they've already been removed. So this is the 6.1 that has just occurred 4 hours ago, and only a depth of 20 meters.
Sure.
Very, very shallow.
Oh my, that is extremely shallow. That's very surprising.
And then 4 hours ago, well, it's going to update. Let's see what we got here. But there was another 5.7. Oh, there it is. There's the big one right there. Magnitude 7.2 just hit in the Philippines, and the depth only 10 meters.
Wow, 10 meters? That is very strange.
Let's see if this, oh, this was in the ocean.
Sure. That's very strange.
Well, let's, big one right there. Magnitude 7.2 just hit in the Philippines, and the depth only 10 meters.
My, 10 meters? That is very strange.
Let's see if this, oh, this was in the ocean.
Sure. That's very strange.
Well, let's see here, 10 meters. This looks like a some type of a port.
Mhm.
I wonder if this is going to create a tsunami. Maybe not. I mean, a 7.2,
Mhm.
but there you
Well,
go.
7.2 is quite a strong earthquake. It could
Yes.
create a tsunami.
Especially if they're downgrading them. And by the way, the grand solar minimum, good luck finding good information about that online. I think it is a topic we should discuss and kind of pull apart because it's a valid point. However, excuse me, that's not the right word I was going to say. I believe the last grand solar minimum, however, was in 1755, if that's what I read real quick. I don't know a lot. I believe that you and I had worked on a small paper about the grand solar minimum and the ice age. And I thought that was, at the time, I was really actually interested to see what the argument was and what that was all about. So it's still something we should consider. And even if that is exactly what's happening, that goes back to your other paper where, hey, is there a direct correlation with the sun and earthquakes and earth activity? So that's a huge point. As soon as Scott went into looking at those earthquakes, and then here just another just kind of random thought,
That's right.
it seems like we kind of go in these little cycles of earthquakes and volcanic activity. And there's been a few times when I was talking with the other day that, boy, I tell you what, I've got scared a few times where there's too many places popping off at once. Now, I think it is really good for us to keep an eye on places like Chile and Vanuatu and Japan, et cetera, where we keep seeing the same name over and over and over again. It keeps popping off over and over again. So I'm glad that we're actually covering that part of this too, because, hey, what if that grand solar minimum action has everything to do with the activity on the Earth? And that'll be something new and fun for us to learn, right? Because if the last one was 1755, they didn't have their Apple computers and stuff. But we got now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can
I'm
find out
checking.
something cool.
I'm checking the.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm checking the USGS right now to see if there was a tsunami warning issued. The internet's running very, very slow, as you can see. And again, I have the fastest upgrade of internet service there is. Oh, well, it looks like there is a threat magnitude 7.2. The depth has now been what is it, 6 miles? 6 miles deep.
Scott, what is your understanding of why that's important, as well as a physicist? Why is that important, the depth?
Well, I mean, this is very, very near the surface. Now, if you had a magnitude 7.2 that was very deep, let's just say 250 kilometers. These earthquakes that occur that are very close to the surface and outlying in the ocean, this would cause an immediate tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this would cause an immediate tsunami. We just saw the geographical area where there is a huge inlet, which looks like a port. I'm not familiar with the area, but I mean, geographically, we took a look at it. There is a huge horseshoe-shaped port facing that earthquake. Mm-hmm. It's right there. We're going to go ahead and pull it up.
Good. This is a good segue into what we were talking about. So good on you to actually start looking at some of this. I'm impressed that you got a lot of this stuff already pre-bookmarked. I'm still learning.
Okay, so what happens is the earthquakes, if they deep down, you can imagine there's a lot of rock around it. So it sort of stops the shaking from or, on the surface, you don't feel it as much.
Okay.
But if you on the surface, if you get the same amount of shaking, there's not much to hold it together. So you feel it a lot more.
So
that's what happens.
while Scott's bringing that up, I'll just tell you guys real quick. I was in the Loma Prieta earthquake. What is it, 1987 here in the Bay Area. And I was working in a place called Chuck's Produce and a little produce stand, and it started happening. Now, I just got to tell you this story real quick.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of funny, and I think you guys will kind of enjoy it. And the listeners, readers, viewers, everybody will kind of think it's funny. So I had remembered from back in the day a cartoon where the guys were flying on horses up in the air, and there was an earthquake, and it shook them down. They were in the air and they fell down to the earth. And I'm like, and I always remembered I wanted to try to jump up in the air and see if it shook when the earth shook. So yeah, Chris Potter is on the side of the friggin' road, jumping up and down. Dude, it doesn't shake in the air, bro. As the road looks like it's water, ripples down. So I look down the road and it looks like it's ripples in water. So earthquake activity that I had an opportunity to see, I can only imagine. So yeah, if it is up more on the top and there's more movement, yeah, it looks like a friggin' ocean that you're in, and it's the dirt, it's the pavement. So anyway, just gotta tell you guys that real quick story, and you go with your bad selves now. Go for it.
Yeah, this is actually, this earthquake occurred not too far from a fault line and also the Philippines Trench. It is quite a distance from the fault line, but if you look at the red lines, ladies and gentlemen, these are all fault lines that have been identified in the past. And usually, you'll see these larger earthquakes directly on or very near to these fault lines. But anything at this particular time, well, you're seeing it. It is possible.
Philippines has been active.
Yeah, we'll probably have to wait a little bit of time to get some initial reports on what has occurred if this did generate a tsunami. Only 6 miles deep and a magnitude 7.2, and we know the USGS downgraded this, and I'm actually going to take a look at the reporting stations, and we'll get a general idea of what the reporting stations all brought in. It might just take me a second to find it.
That's a good idea. We have seen examples where it's been downgraded, even though everybody saw the original status, then later it's downgraded. And so we have an opportunity to actually prove that, hey, it was downgraded. Sometimes they admit it, a lot of times they're not. And yes, folks like Dutch Sense have been able to prove over and over and over again that they are being downgraded actively. And it makes sense. They don't want us